Jon and Dany with their entire crews are currently heading north to prepare for the Great War that is coming even sooner than expected. They are sailing towards White Harbor, the main seaport of the north with the Unsullied. Once they arrive over there, they will meet the Dothraki on the King's Road and then ride together to Winterfell. Of course, all of this will likely take place off screen and we'll probably only see all of them together approaching Winterfell in the very beginning of the first episode. Once Jon arrives at Winterfell, he'll have a heartbreaking reunion with his family, with Sansa, Arya and Bran, as well as with his friends and his direwolf Ghost. A few weeks ago, Jon-Sansa reunion has been even confirmed to take place in the Season 8 premiere, with this Season 8 first look teaser in which we got to see a clip of Jon reuniting with his sister and Lady of Winterfell, Sansa. Some fans claim that the hug share doesn't feel all that warm and we should worry about Sansa's intentions. Some are even going that far to claim that this clip pretty much hints Sansa's possible betrayal over Jon Snow. This, in my opinion, is not the case. Sansa already had an opportunity to overthrow Jon in Season 7 when the Northern Lords were complaining that the king in the North should have stayed in the North, with Lord Glover and Lord Royce even going that far to propose Sansa to take power in the absence of her brother Jon. If she wanted to, Sansa would have already betrayed Jon. Instead, she insisted that Jon is their true ruler who is doing what he believes is right for their people, and that she is merely his regent. So Sansa betraying Jon theory is not plausible at all, in my opinion. The reason why Sansa may be glaring over Jon's shoulder could be Dany, and there even may be a tension between Sansa and Jon's new lover. Having in mind that Sansa back in the second episode of the 7th season said that Dany doesn't want to help the North but rather wants to conquer it, many fans are likely to assume that the Stark sisters, including the other Northern Lords, will not accept Dany as good as Jon did, but we might be wrong. As Dany said herself in the Season 7 finale, she's not heading north to conquer it, but rather to save it, and that's something the Northern Lords will see for themselves in the very beginning of the final season. Sansa will see for herself who Dany truly is and what her true intentions are, and will without a doubt accept her as the North's most trusted ally and its only hope. Sansa might also state to Jon and Dany that risking their lives and losing one of 3 dragons in order to prove to Queen Cersei that the army of the dead is real was both stupid and pointless move, as beside losing 1 dragon, Cersei will never help her own enemies in the war, no matter it's against the Night King. This is something Sansa knows because out of all of them, she's the one who spent the most time with Cersei and she's the only one who fully understands that Cersei will never provide a living side with troops that she's likely to lose in the Great War and therefore weaken her position on the Iron Throne as the Queen of the Seven Kingdoms. Sansa will also warn Dany that Cersei will likely take the advantage of the war between the living and the dead, which Cersei confirmed herself in the Season 7 finale. Anyways, it's not only Jon and Sansa who will finally reunite at Winterfell. The next one is a reunion between Jon and Arya. We've been waiting to see a reunion between those two since the very first season. We had been hoping for a Jon-Arya reunion in Season 7, but the two just miss each other. However, they will finally reunite in the first episode of the final season. Jon loves and cares for all his siblings, but Jon and Arya have a unique bond which show made sure to remind us of just before the actual reunion takes place. Jon and Arya were very close growing up. It was Jon who secretly had needle forged for Arya, encouraging her to become who she always wanted to be, not the lady that Westerosi custom demanded. In fact, those two were so close that in George R. R. Martin's original outline, he had them remarked as lovers. It's only fitting for them to see each other once again before the Great War begins. While it's easy to say that Jon will be proud, but also blown away by how much Arya has grown as a fighter, it's also safe to say that Arya will support Jon's decision of bending the knee to the Dragon Queen. Jon will then reunite with Bran as well. It's been a long time since Jon seen Bran, but Bran did see Jon in Season 4 when he was traveling north of the Wall. He saw Jon from afar fighting the Mutineers to avenge Lord Commander's death. Bran is, besides Sam and Howland Reed, the only person who knows Jon's true lineage, and is the only living man who actually witnessed Jon's birth. Even though he's been waiting the whole season to reveal to Jon the truth, I don't think he will reveal to Jon at their first meeting. The reason being too many people around them. Bran and Sam will likely wait for a private moment with Jon rather than reveal it to him in front of everyone. Bran might not even be the one to reveal the truth to Jon. I think it will be Howland Reed who will in the final season finally reappear, supporting House Stark and the living in the war against the dead. The Night King has brought down the wall and is marching towards Winterfell, while almost all of Westeros on the other hand is also marching towards Winterfell to defend it against the army of the dead. I don't think House Reed will be the only house beside House Lannister not to join the Great War. Even though it's possible that instead of Howland Reed he might send his daughter Mira to lead small forces over House to Winterfell, I think it's time for Howland Reed to finally appear and play his role. Anyways, Jon, upon arriving at Winterfell, beside reuniting with his family, Jon will also reunite with his friends. Jon and Sam will see each other for the very first time since Jon was killed and resurrected. Sam will likely reveal to Jon his true parentage, while Howland will likely finally appear in the current timeline and confirm these Sam statements to Jon with some evidence. Sam might also know that Jon was killed and resurrected since these two were sending ravens to each other, but it's not been shown and therefore we cannot tell for sure if Sam knows what happened at Castle Black. If this is something Sam will learn once he reunites with his best friend, it's possible that beside revealing to Jon that he's a Targaryen, Sam might also proclaim Jon Azor Ahai. In the Season 7 premiere, the show pointed out that the book Gilly picked up and began reading was a book about the Long Night, while the exact part she was reading was about the prophecy of Azor Ahai. I already made a video regarding which character might be this prophesied savior, but Jon, son of Ice and Fire, seems more and more to be the Lord's chosen. Anyways, upon finding out about Jon's true parentage in Season 7, which basically confirms that he's a Song of Ice and Fire, and upon finding out about Jon's death and resurrection in the final season, it's quite possible that Sam will proclaim Jon Azor Ahai a hero that was reborn amid smoke and salt, a hero that will wield the flaming sword to stand against the others, and if he falls, the world falls with him. I also believe that a book about the Long Night that Gilly was reading in the Season 7 premiere will resurface in the final season, which would likely lead Sam to once again ask Bran if he's able to look back in time, but this time even further into the past to see what exactly happened the last time the White Walkers came for the living. This is how Sam and Bran will play a huge role in the final season, as they will help Jon and Dany strategize for their fight against the Night King and his army of the dead. This will most probably involve quite a few flashbacks where we would learn a bit more about the White Walkers and their motivation. Now that Jon's reunited with his family and friends, he has one more important reunion to face, the one with his direwolf. It's been confirmed that Ghost will finally return in Season 8, and one can only say, finally. We all enjoy the dragons, but the direwolves have also been a huge part of Game of Thrones, especially of the Stark children. We haven't seen Ghost ever since Jon's resurrection. For all of you wondering where Ghost even is, he's at Winterfell. The showrunners confirmed that Ghost remained at Winterfell with Sansa when Jon left to meet Dany at Dragonstone. As a matter of fact, Ghost was supposed to be in one scene of the previous season. When discussing his episode Stormborn on Season 7 Blu-ray commentary track, writer Cogman revealed that he wrote a scene featuring Ghost, but it got cut out. We were supposed to see Ghost when Jon emerged from the Winterfell crypts, right after he threatened Littlefinger but before he waved goodbye to Sansa. So somewhere in there, Ghost was supposed to finally reappear. Cogman provided some more details. There was a bit here where Jon came out of the crypt and Ghost came up to him and he petted him and said, "Take care of Sansa, watch over her for me." But I guess those direwolves are expensive. I guess it got cut. Instead of Ghost, the showrunners decided to fulfill their long-awaited wish of having an undead bear in Game of Thrones. Anyways, the Game of Thrones production has much higher budget for Season 8, and with that said, it only makes sense for Ghost to finally reappear. Jon will reunite with Ghost early on in the season, and I'm sure we'll see more of him in the following episodes, especially in the battle for Winterfell that is most likely taking place in episode 3. However, it's not only Jon who is arriving at Winterfell, and it's not only Jon who will reunite with the people he loves and cares about. Sandor the Hound Clegane is arriving as well, and he'll finally reunite with Sansa and Arya, perhaps the only two people he cares about. He's basically been their only true friend south of Winterfell. The Hound helped Sansa a lot back when both of them were in King's Landing, and even offered her to escort her back to safety, which Sansa unfortunately refused. He also helped her sister Arya trying to escort her back to her family, but unfortunately the Red Wedding occurred. Arya learned a great deal from the Hound, and some even claim that she sometimes acts like him. It's safe to say that the Hound will be more than proud to see how Arya has become such a great fighter. Arya, beside reuniting with Jon and the Hound, she will also reunite with one more character that is arriving at Winterfell with Jon and Dany. It's Gendry. The two shared a lot of time together in the earlier seasons, and both have grown to like and deeply care about each other. They will be happy to see one another alive and well. Perhaps their reunion might even give us a hint or two that Gendry's father's promise to Arya's father in Season 1 might finally be fulfilled. Robert was talking about Joffrey, who he thought was his son and Ned's daughter Sansa. This never happened, and therefore House Stark and House Baratheon haven't been joined yet. However, a huge amount of fans are believing that this marriage might finally happen in the form of Robert's only son Gendry and Ned's daughter Arya, having in mind that Arya is at Winterfell while Gendry on the other hand is heading towards it with Jon Snow and Daenerys Targaryen. Those two will most certainly reunite in the final season, and it's going to be interesting to see how their relationship will play out. With a series of reunions coming in the final season, one video could not cover them all. I'll probably make part 2 of this video in the following days featuring reunions between Tyrion and Sansa, Jorah and Sam, Jaime and Tyrion, Jaime and Jon, and perhaps the most intense ones, the reunions between Jaime and Dany and between Jaime and Bran.